spoken word, kucompose jingles ama any other unexploited artistic talent. Gava through Ministry of Information, Communication and the Digital Economy na KBC sasa wamekama up na project ya kupromote usanii called Studio Machinani. Hizi ni studios ziko grassroots and they are fitted with high quality state-of-the-art equipment where you can produce quality audio and video music content for free. What's more, wanaoffer mentorship na talanta yako itakuwa promoted on KBC Channel 1 TV, Y254 na radio stations za KBC. Tembelea Studio Machinani huko Comarox, Langata, Sauti House Mombasa, Kirwara huko Gatanga, Kitui next to Manyanyoni Chiefs Camp na Kisumu City wako hapo KBC Station. Usilalie talent. This is your chance to commercialize and popularize your talent through Studio Machinani.
Technology has become a crucial part of our society. Without technological advancements, so much of our everyday lives would be drastically different. As technology develops, it strives to fulfill the changing needs of society. This means that technology exists to help us achieve the things that we wouldn't be able to achieve without it. Take on Tech looks at the advantages and downside of technological innovation in a world that is becoming increasingly dependent on new digital technologies. Every Monday at 10:30 p.m.
A very good morning to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Sports Check on this Monday morning. It is the 18th day of September 2023 and it's World Bamboo Day celebrations happening in Embu. So that's one of the functions that we are keeping up with, but also conversations around sport on this week. For most of the Kenyans, they woke up happy and went to sleep happy, woke up happy. And this is after Shuja qualified for the Olympics, defeating South Africa 17-12 yesterday at the Harambe Sports Club. Our conversations today, one about an event that took place last week here in Nairobi, the Africa Football Business Summit. What were the outcomes? And we're going to be speaking with Mukhtar Koroma, who is a journalist from Sierra Leone, was one of the delegates, and the CEO of the Football Foundation for Africa, Brian Masala, was behind that summit. And also the Harambe Starlets. They will be playing against Cameroon. This is the first round of qualifying for the Women's Africa Cup of Nations. So the Harambe Starlets will be traveling. They have an open training session that is going on right now. Mary Wavinya and Dan Mwendwa are there to get the story of the Harambe Starlets. So we shall be linking up with them later. But also this morning, we're going to be speaking about chess. They say it is a sport that is played by the generals while the kings play polo. But every strategist must start with this. And we're with two grand Kenyans. They have already won trophies at age grade level. With me, I've got Winnie Kaburo. Winnie,
yes,
welcome and congratulations on having won last year at the Africa Youth Chess Championship.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we also have got a brother, Norman Manyeki.
Yes.
He won the Open Under-8 at the Africa Youth Chess Championships in Egypt. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, two African champions here, not yet 10 years of age. That's why we've got to use this place. And the president of Chess Kenya, Bernard Wanjala.
Pleasure.
Bernard, let me just start with you for, just to give us, that the federation's perspective from the Africa Youth Chess Championship that was held in Egypt.
Yeah. First of all, you'll recall chess in Africa is a developing sport, and the north of Africa is more developed. And if you count the number of grandmasters we have, 6 of them come from Egypt. So technically, we can say the chess center in Africa is Egypt. And when you go to their home and you are able to scoop something from them, it's a statement in itself. Given that most of the kids, they benefit from the skills of the GMs. And for us, we don't have even an IM. And for us...
Okay, GM is a Grandmaster, yes. IM, International Master.
The National Master, yes. And I'm proud of these young talents. It demonstrates that Kenya, we are on the right track to actually also produce a Grandmaster. Okay. Yeah.
Norman, you know, going out there winning this trophy in Egypt, just tell us about this feeling that you got.
It was exciting at the same time. I kept on feeling good because all the time I was playing Egyptians, it was hard. They were really fighting, they were trying to win. I found a way to win and it was a good experience.
Just tell us how you just went around this, eventually winning the Under-8 Open.
The Egyptians were playing. I found a way to play in a way so that they don't understand and found a way to checkmate.
Aha. What was this that you really didn't want them to read the moves that you were making?
You just need to play tactical. Mm-hmm. You have to play tactical, aggressive, and find a way to out-tactic them by doing a move. They think, but if they play the wrong move, you checkmate. And that's how you do it.
Okay, very well. And Winnie, you won the Under-8 Cup. Yes, girls last year, and that was a different championship. Just tell us about your experience then and how it has come to change, you know, even the way you approach this sport.
It has become harder. They have been working hard, yes, but then there were less Egyptians. The only Egyptian that I played was the last round, and I managed to win.
And what is it that you found out about Egyptians, Winnie, and then also Norman? What is it that you see that they do differently from what we see here in Kenya?
They train very hard. Sometimes they can do off-board tactics, so you really need to concentrate on your games.
Okay, you've introduced something. I'll be coming to that. Norman, what did you see about them?
It's they're really focusing on a thing called illegal move. Like they're focusing, they're looking at you, whatever you're doing, they're ready to raise up their hands. So you have to be careful because they might even try to cheat. So you have to focus on the board, look and be alert.
Okay, let me do something. Okay, for example, here is a piece. Let's say I make a move there. And what's the next thing that you think that they would do? You said something about off-board moves. Just tell us what that means.
It means they distract you in a way. Maybe they kick you or do funny faces just to distract you, and your mind will be focused on them. So you really you don't concentrate on them. You just play the board. Yes.
Very well. So Bernard, you see, it's a very interesting for them. And one of the something that's coming up is focus. What are you doing, to help develop the focus of your young chess players here?
Mr. Harambe, our juniors are our future, and we have done a lot of investment in terms of training. But this time round, I think the only downside is we didn't have a 2-week training before they traveled, something they'll have done actually better. But I must appreciate we have top-level coaches who have been working with these juniors. I understand Manyeki was the highest rated in his category despite of Egyptian being coached at a higher level. But it means also our coaches are doing extremely well. Ben Magana is our national champion for many years. Tom Amwai is doing an extremely good job. We have been nurturing them since they were young. And that means we have the quality of the coaches that are capable to produce one of the best players in the country. Yeah.
And let me come to you. It's very interesting. When you got the siblings here, is a sister, her brother. How did you pick up this sport?
The way I picked it up is when I wanted to play another sport, but then my dad told me to play chess since you can also do it at home. So
which is the sport you wanted to play?
I wanted to do skating, yeah, and ballet. But then my dad said I do chess since you can do it from home. Then it got used to me and it was fun.
And growing as a player, how has that come for you?
It has been well. At the same time, it has been hard because there are also people who are coming for us by working hard. Yeah.
Norman, how did you pick this up?
When we were in school, our dad gave us the option to do a sport. So I really wanted to do skating, but then he said we do chess. That's how we both started playing chess. And we did it from home, we practiced, and then we started going for tournaments, which made us get used to chess. We loved it, it was really fun.
And what's the scene like here for your age grade? I mean, for the moment, for the under 10s?
I don't. For under 10 category, there are many players, so I don't really know what they do to get at this level. So, I've gotten used to this. So,
winning?
Yes.
All the time? You were the best rated, Norman, in your category, and it brings you up. What were some of the things that you have learned that you would like to keep doing and to improve on your sport?
You just need to play well, focus on your game, and you need to ask yourself what your opponent is doing, because they might find a way to do something and you're not focusing. So if you're not focusing, they can do a move, you even forget what you wanted to play, you play something else, and they might even have a checkmate that you didn't see. So you need to focus, play well, and strategize on how you need to play.
Very well. Now, the competition scene, Bernard, so because it's not just by training, but competing is what really helps develop players and meeting different opponents. What are the arrangements for junior chess at the moment here when it comes to competition?
Currently, chess actually pulls the biggest crowd in terms of numbers of competing athletes. You will recall in April we had about 3,200 participants. That's a massive number, especially for us to manage. And after we now get the best from that crowd, we move them to now a higher level training. That's where we pick the talent for further nurturing. And I must appreciate the ministry has done a lot to support the federation. During the holiday, we had a holiday camp, and chess had about 200 participants.
That was at the Kenya Academy of Sports.
Yes. Yeah, it was a joint venture between the Kenya Academy of Sports and many other stakeholders. Yeah, but it's actually the initiative of the ministry led by CS Namwamba. That was a great initiative, and that's where we were able to nurture some of these kids that have emerged to do very well. And we need to continue doing it because that's the only way the talent can be given an opportunity to nurture themselves and dominate Africa and even to the world. Yeah.
What are the things that you picked up? Because these players were picked from across the country, and they came to Kasarani for this. What did you find from that?
Actually, that's when I noticed we have a lot of talents. You could say kids very passionate, waking up very early, even earlier than the scheduled time. Sometimes you could chase them from the hall so they can go and sleep. That shows the passion. And Mohammed, these are kids coming from very interior part of the country. Manyeke and Winnie are lucky. They are in Nairobi where we have the best coaches. But you have a kid in Mount Elgon, Tip in Mount Elgon, who loved chess. When he heard about chess and he have loved it, he doesn't have a high-level coaching that will propel them to the level that we want. We had kids from West Pokot, we had kids from Turkana, Mombasa. All these areas are source of talents. And I think the camp helped us to bring this talent together and subject them to the highest level of training. Give it 1 or 2 years. Those are the kids that are going to be the best in this country.
The other one is now getting high level. I mean, you mentioned about high level coaching is here. How do you then reach out to those who are based outside of Nairobi with their coaches? Because one of the things that I realized that the Ministry of Education wants to do is partner with federations and make sure that you do get teachers trained as coaches for various sports.
Yeah, we had started sending the coaches out to the Machini. And when you look at even the profile of our national best players, you could see we are getting even a player from very interior, like a player from Kibabi University, Kibabi High School, winning the under-17. We had kids from Kitale winning various categories. That tells you that there is something we have already started initiating, sending our coaches to the Machinani so that they can be able to train. You recall last year we sent quite a number of coaches, supported from the federation, to go and have training at different centers. And that is what is bearing fruits, as you can see now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Bernard Angela, he is the president of Chess Kenya, and we also have got Norman Manyeki in Kaburu here, young Kenyans who've been shining there. And at the moment, we also have got other events going on. The Cabinet Secretary, Public Service, Gender and Affirmative Action, the Honorable Aisha Jumwa, and the Chief Justice Martha Koome are holding a high-level meeting. And this is to launch the Protection Against Domestic Violence Act. So let us listen into Cabinet Secretary Aisha Jumwa, and then we shall come back and continue the conversation around chess.
Emphasize prevention, intervention, and holistic support, reflecting a multi-sectorial approach that involves collaboration between government agencies, civil society organizations, and the community at large. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to highlight some key aspects of these rules. Firstly, the rules establish clear guidelines for obtaining protection orders, ensuring that survivors have access to swift and effective legal remedies. These orders will prohibit the perpetrator from further acts of violence, safeguarding the safety and security of the survivor and any children involved. Secondly, the rules emphasize the importance of prevention and early intervention. They underline the need and responsibility by legal duty bearers to handle survivors with compassion, while also ensuring the perpetrators are held accountable for their actions. Lastly, these rules underscore the importance of public awareness and community engagement. We must challenge the social norms and attitudes that perpetuate domestic violence even as the rule of law takes effect. Through targeted awareness campaigns, education initiatives, and community dialogue, we aim to foster a society that embraces equality, respect, and nonviolence. Ladies and gentlemen, the launch of the Protection Against Domestic Violence rule is just the beginning. Implementing these rules effectively requires the collective effort of all stakeholders, government, development partners, civil society, community leaders, and every Kenyan citizen. We must work together to create a society that rejects violence in all its forms and stand up for the rights and dignity of every individual. I urge each and every one of you to familiarize yourselves with these rules. Support survivors in their journey to healing and justice, and join us in advocating for a society free from domestic violence. Together, let's build a nation where every home is a sanctuary of love, respect, and peace. As I conclude, I wish to appreciate the accountability requirement for our courts to dispense swiftly and effective cases of gender-based violence. I commend our Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court, who is well represented here today, for recently launching the first ever special court for handling sexual violence cases at Shanzu Law Court in Mombasa. The judiciary commitment to raise the bar on judiciary accountability for gender-based violence cases will serve to help preserve the dignity of survivors and enhance fair trial within the tenets of the Constitution. I am aware that all other government institutions in the gender-based violence referral pathways are putting in place significant reforms to ensure justice for survivors of domestic violence and GBV. We recognize the key role of the Rules Committee of the Judiciary and Gender and Media Initiative for the consistent support in the development of these rules among other stakeholders, and she leads Kenya for facilitating this launch. We appreciate the individual and institutional commitment to end gender-based violence. And I want, before I conclude my speech, I want to say that our work is far from over, and we must fill the gap. I want to echo the sentiments of the speakers who took the stage before me, and the requests that have been made. And I want to say that the beginning of justice to our survivors is at the police. And it is very sad that today a survivor is required to pay between 1,000 and 3,000 Kenya shillings to acquire a P3 form. It is very sad, and I want to say that because by requiring a P3 three form, as I have said, is the beginning, or it is the starting of the journey to justice to these survivors. So if they are asked to pay 1,000 to 3,000, depending on the police station where these survivors will report, is actually to re-victimize that person who is already victimized. And therefore, I would request that this service be rendered free of charge. There was a request to establish funded and
That is the Cabinet Secretary, Public Service, Gender and Affirmative Action, the Honorable Aisha Jumwa. And she is speaking in Nairobi as she holds a high-level meeting to launch the Protection Against Domestic Violence Act and rules. And our reporter at that event is Irene Muchuma, so she's going to be giving us details of that event as it continues. We now continue with our conversation, and it is about chess. The sport that is played for kings, and the Africa Youth Chess Championships, took place in Egypt and Kenya. They did win the gold medalist in the Under-18 Open. Nathaniel Manyeki is here with us, and his sister had won the Under-8 girls last year. And, this is what I'll do. In just a short while, we'll be asking one of you to come to these other sides, and you can do rapid demonstration. Now, Bernard Ranjala, you as president of Chess Kenya, one of the things that everyone talks about, is outreach. How much are you doing to make sure that, the sport has got more people involved, especially at the age grade level?
Yeah. You recall, Wahome, chess 5 years back, it was only a Nairobi sport. And it has been really hard work to ensure that this sport reaches all parts of the country. In 2015, we received 5,000 chess boards. Working together with Kenya Academy of Sports, we were able to distribute these chess boards to other parts of the country so that at least every child has an access to the chess board. Of course, we worked with the county. This year, we have received 25,000 chess boards through Gift of Chess, and our director, Phyllis, have been helping us to ensure that we reach the parts now that we have not been able to reach. And as we speak now, we have been able to distribute over 2,000 to various parts of the country. And that's why you can see the number of
That is just 10% of what you have?
Yes, yes.
So there is more?
There is more that we are still doing. We are also doing training of the coaches. We have so far done 6 training centers where teachers and all other people who want to be involved to train, they come, we train them so that they support us in those areas. As I mentioned, the biggest challenge we have is coaches. Yeah.
Okay. Now, we are looking at the kind of donations that you're getting, and the whole thing is, when you mentioned the boards, for example, what we have here looks more like a mat.
Yeah.
Do you have is it the solid board, or is it this type that we have here?
It's a mat. Gift of Chess actually wants to distribute 1 million chess boards in the world, and Kenya is among the target countries. And for them, they just give us a chessboard which comprises a mat and the pieces. So that is the same thing that we distribute to others, because essentially you only need a chessboard for you to play chess. Then we are also doing the chess clock. Chess clock now is for competition, and we focus now on the higher level of play. That's when you need a clock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're going to be getting this. So, Nathaniel, please come over.
Yeah.
And this is what I would like, and I'll pick up my stuff from here. So we've got 5 minutes, and But Ranjala, maybe just tell us about the clock and basically how that works before the two now come here.
Usually,
give us a display of this game.
Usually in a chesscom, it's like war, two territories, fighting to dethrone each other. And the chess clock is a timer that helps us to measure the time. You can see each of the players have been allocated 5 minutes to finish the game. So if the game doesn't end and your time has run out, then you have lost. Yeah. So Manyeki has 5 minutes, and Winnie has also 5 minutes. So these are plates game.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll be coming to this. So now, Angela, maybe we could have the clock on this other side. Yes. Then, so just ready to have a play. So you just think of your strategies. But right now, let's move over to the Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani. The Harambe Starlets are training, and we've got Dan Mwendwa, who is there and is with the team. Let's hear from Dan Mwendwa at the Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani Annex.
Thank you so much, Daniel Wahome. We are here at Kasarani Stadium, where Harambe Starlets are finalizing their preparation ahead of their friendly match, which is set for this Friday in Cameroon. Just to mention is that the team will be leaving the country tomorrow and will fly out and continue with their preparations. Then the match, the first game, will be held on Friday. Then the team will jet back to the country on Sunday. On Monday, they'll resume training ahead of their second and their return match against Cameroon. The winner between the two legs in aggregate is going maybe to secure a place to play between Namibia and Botswana, and whoever wins will get a direct ticket to the WAFCON. And joining me is Mwana Lima. Thank you on board. Matayarisho yamekuwaje?
Mimi naweza sema so far so good. Team iko poa, preparation iko fiti. Ni sisi tu wenyewe tuende ground sasa tu work. Yeah.
Can we say that it's all systems go ahead of the first leg match against Cameroon?
For me naweza sema it's tough. Na tunajua Cameroon si wa rahisi, but for us tumeenda huko, unajua football siku hizi iko ni game ya 90 plus. So sisi tunaenda kule, tunapambana, tunacheza venye technical bench yetu ametufunza, then na hope tutatoka na win. Yeah.
Pengine ni changamoto zipi mmekuwa mkipitia kwa training pengine?
Kimimi naweza sema hakuna changamoto tumepata. Ni vitu tu za football za kawaida. Kimimi naweza sema wachezaji wako sawa, motivation iko sawa, watu wako ready wote kuanzia technical bench hadi sisi wachezaji tuko very ready.
Kuna blend between the old players and new players. Mna blend aje kama wachezaji?
Kimimi naweza sema si old wala si new, tunapatanaga kwa ligi, tumecheza nao wengine Premier League same. So tumejuana tu mzuri kwa mguu. Iko tu sawa, kila mtu anapambana, kila mtu anasukuma, kila mtu anataka kuwa first 11 na make trip. Kimi naweza sema wachezaji wamefocus fiti sana. Kenye naambia mafans watuombe sana, tukienda Cameroon tupige win, na tukikuja hapa home wakuje kwa wingi watu support kama venye wana support Harambe Stars. Tutashukuru sana. Yeah.
Pengine una ahadi gani kwa mashabiki wa Harambe Starlets?
Kimi naweza waambia hatujawa disappoint na hatuta disappoint. Tutaenda huko, tutafight ya Kenya. Watu milioni na ni nchi ya mama yetu, lazima tu work, tusidisappoint gava, federation na Wakenya wote. So kimi naweza sema Starlet wanaenda kuwakilisha fiti na tutakuja katu na smile.
Thank you. That was Mwana Lima. We also joined by another player. Pengine maandalizi yamekuaje? Mazoezi yamekuaje?
Mimi nasema mazoezi from day one imekuwa vizuri, watu hawajalegeza. Tumepush poa na tunataka tuipush hadi hiyo return leg.
Cameroon ni timu kubwa, pengine hata ukiangalia kisoka. Je, una imani kana kwamba Starlets wataweza pengine kuzoa alama zote tatu kwenye mechi ya kwanza na mechi ya marudiano?
Ya tunaelewa Cameroon ni timu kubwa hadi kwa history, lakini pia tuko na history yetu. Tunaenda kama Kenya, timu Harambe Starlets, na tunaenda kupush. Atufuatilia hiyo historia yao. Sisi tunaenda kama sisi, na pia sisi tuongeze kwa historia yetu.
Umekuwa kambini wiki mbili. Pengine ni yapi ambayo pengine mmeweza kujifunza na yanawapa motisha kabla ya mechi hiyo?
Mazoezi yako fine na players pia tumekuja wote na najua most of them ni wako na experience, wamecheza nje na hiyo ndio inatupatia morale.
Neno la mwisho pengine kwa mashabiki wa Starlets?
Nawaambia wasichoke na wakuja wako wengi na watuombe na tunaenda kuwakilisha vizuri, watafurahia.
Thank you. Those are some of the Harambe Starlets players speaking to us, and now the team has just concluded their training, and now what awaits them is the flight to Cameroon. We'll keep you updated in everything. Back to you, Daniel Wahome.
Thank you very much, Dan Mwendwa at the Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani, speaking to the Harambe Starlets. They're going to be playing against Cameroon in the first round of qualifying for the Women's Africa Cup of Nations. And remember that they play this weekend, and on Tuesday next week, on Friday, and on Tuesday next week, they will be playing the return leg here. Now, back to studio, and we're going to have a demonstration game here of chess. And this is what you call the Rapids, Nathaniel and Winnie. So, quickly, just explain Rapids, what that means.
Rapids means the time will be 15 and above time, but it can't pass 30 minutes. Yeah, so Rapids, you can take your time, but not as much time as 1 hour. Yeah.
As an ordinary competition game.
Yes.
So, we got 5 minutes. So, let's see. And let us get going.
So in a chess game, there is always an arbiter. So for me now, I'll be an arbiter for this match.
Very good.
To ensure that the rules are observed, and if someone goes against the rules, he loses the game.
I'll ask for one exception.
Yeah.
That for every move they make, they are free to explain it.
Yeah.
I know normally they don't, just after you make the move, okay? Then, depending on the time, you'll tell us about the counter moves and what you would have done to have the game done, all right? Let's play.
I'm playing e4. I'm playing e5. It's called the king's pawn opening. I'm playing knight after attacking the e pawn.
Knight c6, defending the e pawn.
I'm playing d4. This opening is called the scotch.
I take.
Take. Here's a scotch declined.
My queen f6 here.
Now I'm playing c3.
I play my bishop to c5, attacking the knight.
Play bishop to e3. It's defending the knight in case you lose a pawn.
Okay.
Then you take the knight with the bishop.
I take with the pawn, getting a center.
Then
Okay, just, we can pause the clock at that point.
Yes.
Just explain that move that you have done.
Taking with the bishop wouldn't have made that much sense because you want to keep your bishops because of the bishop pair. It's usually very strong in open positions, so that you need to keep the bishops so that you can get an advantage. You just need to keep the bishops to stay strong in case anything happens. You can defend with both bishops.
Okay, let's continue.
I play d6.
I'm playing c3.
Okay.
I play my knight to h6.
I'm playing knight to d5. It's attacking the queen.
I play my queen to d8.
I'm playing rook to c1, putting pressure on this knight.
I develop my bishop. At the same time, I defend my knight.
Okay. Just a pause on the clock. Developing a bishop. Just explain that phrase.
It means you activate your bishop to a square that it also does another thing. So At this point, my bishop is defending my knight, so in case it gets attacked, it's defended, and if they take, I can take back with my bishop.
Ah, very well. Let's continue.
I'm playing a4, getting space on the queen side.
I play a6, just preventing the bishop from coming to b5.
I play b4, I'm taking more space on the queen side.
I play knight g4, so I attack the bishop.
I play b5, attacking the knight.
I take the bishop, attacking the queen.
I play knight takes, taking back my knight.
I take with the pawn on b5.
I take back with the pawn. I'm getting back my pawn.
I play back on e7.
I play bishop to e2. I'm gaining space. Also, I'm developing so that I can do castle on the next move.
I castle with my king.
A castle, developing my rook.
I play my knight to g6 so I can have space for my queen to move.
I go queen to c2. I am developing my queen.
I move my queen to e7, connecting my rooks.
I go knight to d5, attacking the queen.
I go with my queen to g5.
I go queen takes c7, winning a pawn.
I go with my bishop to e6.
I go f5. I'm attacking the queen.
I go back with my queen to d8.
I play queen takes d8. I'm taking the queen.
I play rook takes d8.
I go knight to c7. I'm attacking the bishop.
Just a pause on this. You've taken his queen, you've taken her queen, and these are the most powerful pieces on the board.
Yeah.
So let's see how you go around this, okay?
Yes.
With these others, with the rooks and the castles.
I go back with my knight e7.
I go d5, attacking the bishop.
I go back with my bishop to c8.
Now I'm going b6, giving my knight an outpost.
And then
Okay, outposts. Another word introduced. Now tell us what an outpost is.
An outpost means like a square where a pawn can't attack your knight. So when you move your knight and then you put your pawn there so that you can support the knight so that it doesn't get attacked.
Okay, very well. We're in class, everyone.
I play f5.
I'm playing e5.
And take the pawn.
I I'm taking back the pawn. I'm getting a strength out.
I take the knight, the pawn with the knight.
I play bishop to c4, pinning the knight.
Then I play my rook. To f7.
I'm playing e6, attacking the rook.
I take with the bishop.
I take back the bishop.
Then I play my rook to d6.
I take the knight with the bishop.
I take back with the rook.
I check.
Basically, okay, just a pause. You've made a call for check. It means that
The king is in danger.
the king is in danger, but there's a chance of safety. Okay, so let's continue.
So play my rook to d8.
I play a check again. I'm taking the rook.
And I play here.
Here we have checkmate.
Checkmate. The king is cornered.
Yeah, there's no escape.
So, now that the king is cornered, the moves that you're going to use, the two that you've got.
There are
Three.
It's called CPR. CPR means capture, protect, or run away. Capturing here doesn't work because the knight is defending. So you can't capture because your king will still be in check. You can't run away because run away you'll still be in check and the pawn is blocking, so you can't move. So you can't run away. And you can't protect because you don't have any other piece to protect. So it's called checkmate.
Checkmate.
Yes.
CPR, not cardiopulmonary respiration, resuscitation, but capture, protect, or run away. Okay, so at this, I mean, as an arbiter, let me now come to you. And I want to make a reference here to the clock. She had 20 seconds. He's got 2 minutes, 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Just tell us in case where the clock runs down, how you then decide who takes the game.
Usually everyone is given equal time. So if you have run out of time, then it means also you mismanaged your time, so you lose the game. Yeah. So we declare someone with more time as the winner of the game. And for this case, if Winnie 20 seconds remaining ran down, she could have lost even if there was no checkmate on the board. Yeah.
Well, and also just taking, just from your assessment of, the kind of play that you've seen here, from the two of them, what have you seen? Maybe the kind, even as they were, I know they were, describing every move, so any of them could preempt what was coming next.
Yeah.
What is it that you've seen from their style of play that would describe each one of them?
In the game of chess, we have 3 phases. The phase number 1 is opening, then middle game, and end game. In the opening, you must have some knowledge of how to, start and maintain a status quo whereby you will have either an advantage or maintain the position. And from what you saw, the opening was coach. So Winnie has really to know how to defend against Scotch. And you could see her coming out of the Scotch, she was already struggling. There was a huge space for white. There was minority attack pawns, where 2 pawns, but they are causing a lot of problem in her camp. And by the time she's entering endgame, she was already struggling. You could see the queen already was attacking, the bishop was coming back, and even the knight developing on the other side. It's allowed, but you can see it brought a lot of problem on her camp to reorganize again the pieces. Yeah. So that means she had a problem on coming out of opening and middle game. Then the end game was completely lost. Yeah.
Yeah. And what about Nathaniel's attack? Because I know at one point I saw his, just go down the board straight. He found a corridor straight.
Nathaniel had a very good understanding about Scotch opening. And, it's all about...
Just to reiterate, what you call Scotch opening.
We have so many opening in chess. And usually the person who come up with, who plays first at opening is named after him. So one of the Scotch is you challenge the sender immediately rather than waiting. In opening, control of the sender is very important. And you saw him, crapping the sender, and Winnie did not have so many pawns that could manage the sender, because for us, having the pawns at the center helps them to manage the center. And Nathaniel was able to do that in the opening, and that gave him a lot of advantage. Yeah.
Now, maybe, Nathaniel, you could just pass by, and take a seat there. Yeah. As we come to, and this is something that I would also like them to come in and weigh in on this. Nathaniel, just slightly to the left. We've seen, I think one of the biggest stories told about chess is where a grandmaster played against a supercomputer. Yeah. It was Garry Kasparov, I think, or Karpov, one of the two. That was way back. Where does technology come in with this sport? If somebody would want to play against what you would say AI, artificially, because that's purely artificial intelligence and algorithms in chess.
It has come with blessings and also a curse in itself, because one of the ways to train and understand the position, for example, when I have played with the Nathaniel, Winnie can go back and review that game on a computer and get ideas on how she can handle the same position when he plays an opponent that plays Scotch. So that means it has enhanced the knowledge of understanding the position. But at the same time, it has been also used as a tool to cheat. Some people can be able to use the gadgets and transmit the moves while they are playing. And currently, the World Chess Federation is doing a lot to ensure that it caps misuse of the IA and ensure that when we are having a game, it's human to human. Because if you introduce the IA, it becomes machine versus human, and you know what happens.
Yeah. So that means people can't have, funny boards with magnetic, such that if I make a move, say,
there are two ways. There are 2 ways, 3 ways you can cheat in using the gadgets. Number 1, some players go and hide some, gadgets in the toilet. When they go there, we had a case where one of the players was caught. When they go to toilet, they use the gadget, then come and make very strong moves. The other way is...
so what's the gadget? I mean, why are you hiding the gadgets?
Like nowadays, a gadget is, a laptop or a phone. And a phone is the easiest to hide. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So someone can hide there, he goes online, and like the line he was playing Scotch, if you miss a line, then you go there and you get to know what you have to play. The second way you can cheat is you have communication gadget, very minute, so that someone is able to transmit the moves to you. After you play, he's able to see the moves and communicate to you how you should be able to respond. So you may not see those gadgets. They may be very minute, but they can be able also to. The last one is we have someone outside the playing hall or close who communicates to you to the moves to. If, for example, I'm a coach to Nathania, when he comes out of the hall, maybe going to toilet, I'm able to communicate to him some of the moves that he can be able to make or handle the position, you know. And we have been able to work around to ensure that those three doesn't happen and people play chess using the skills that they have.
Okay, yes. All right, thank you very much. Bernard Wanjala is the president of Chess Kenya, and we've got Nathaniel Banyeki and his sister Winnie. So we'll be coming back, and you'll tell us about this sport and technology. You're from the generation where if I leave you with my device, I'll discover things I didn't know existed. We know what you do. We know the moment you get a phone, you always find something that I didn't know. Tell us about chess and technology and how you view that. That is after we take this short break.
KBC Channel 1 magazine programs strive to disseminate news and information.
Welcome to Happening in the World of Entertainment
and achievements of individuals navigating through life.
Be part of the intelligent conversation.
Upper KBC Channel 1.
Related to the interest of Kenyan public on various subjects of national importance.
Wasigaribu tujifunze.
Keeping you up to date with the latest tech news,
challenges, and remarkable stories of individuals with disabilities.
And you have a say.
Our magazine programs empower communities with words for conversations and a common language to approach the world.
For your infotainment needs, we have a great range of programs.
Live from Broadcasting House, Nairobi, Kenya. This is KBC English Service.
Welcome to Beat Time Show, the very best of the 80s and 90s with me, John Korani, JK.
Timeless music hits across the decades.
This is the place to be after you've had a tough day. Here we celebrate love and life.
Don't believe me, just watch. The sound of KBC English Service.
I'm your host Caroline Wangishi, Carol Gatata Moshero.
My name is Geoffrey Mongai.
News, information and entertainment. KBC English Service, Kenya's official national radio.
And welcome back to Sports Check on this Monday morning. And, you know, we are having a conversation with two age grade champions in the sport of chess. Siblings they are, Nathaniel Banyeki. He won the Open Under 8, and this is the trophy that's right across. It's a trophy that he won in Egypt for the Dalz, and Winnie Kabura, who's an Under 10 player at the moment, and she has also won the Under 8 championship previously. So, we've had a conversation, and also we with Bernard Wanjala, who's the president of Chess Kenya, spoken about technology and, you know, the risks and the benefits to it. I'll start with you, Winnie. Technology and chess. There's two options. I mean, there are various options. You can play against, you can play a game online, Because we've seen people even play Scrabble online and against algorithms. How do you see chess and technology coming into play?
First, when I ever started chess, I started with technology, not yet at the time of playing on the board. So
you started on devices, not on a board?
Yes. And then to that, after I started getting used to it, and then I went to technology. Then I started playing with engines. I started playing with other people online, practicing, playing puzzles. Then after that, and then I went to tournaments. Yeah.
So how do you see that connection, and how would you use it to improve your skills in chess?
I would use it by playing a lot of puzzles, playing games, playing engines above my level. Yeah.
Nathaniel.
Yes.
Tell me about technology and chess for you.
When it started, we used technology on a platform or a website called ChessKid. It teaches you chess, teaches you the moves, and you get used to it. And then after that, you just keep playing. Then you get used to it. Then that's when we started playing on the board, practicing, and then we went for tournaments. Then that's when we started to win. We started to play chess on the board and not online.
How different did you find that when you play against opponents at tournaments vis-a-vis playing somebody who is online?
Yeah, because you don't know whether online it also has a bit of risk, because you don't know whether they are cheating, because they might just be cheating from home. They're using a device to play. So they look at the move, then they play it. Then you might be shocked how they're playing very well. But also now on physically, there are arbiters which keep the game fair, so that now there are less risks of cheating. So that now the difference is also the pieces. They're 3D compared to the platform, which has pieces inside the device.
All right, very, very well. Now, Bernard Ranjala, for you to develop this sport, a lot of support is needed.
Yeah.
We've been told the donations you're getting in terms of the chessboards, these ones that come in the form of a mat. And I can see that actually even this has been customized for Kenya, Chess 254. So how do you enhance this, work together with the Ministry of Education, work together with the Sports Ministry to ensure that the sport is there, and for representative teams, there is always enough support coming their way?
I must say, for the currently we are receiving very good support from the Ministry of Sports. I am one of the people who have been really appealing for equality, for supporting the sport, and I can confirm here, CS Namwamba has done a lot to realign the programs. As I mentioned before, we had a camp, which is very essential for developing young talents. Number two, funding. As much as there is bigger resources, but they have also tried to ensure that each sport is supported to, participate in the national events. We have also had very good treatment of the athletes. You remember when Daniel and the team came back, the Minister of Sports sent a team that received our athletes, and they felt proud to be, to be the champions and representing the country. That is the culture that we have been missing, and I must commend the ministry. We also have some other sponsors who have come to support. We had 9 kids from Kibera who are supported by an organization from US. That means also there is a growing support. But from the corporates, I think they are still understanding the chess sport. I know some are coming on board. Kenya Open was supported by Safaricom and Kenya Commercial Bank, KCB. That means there is a growing goodwill to support the sports, because we normally say a kid can choose to play football, can choose basketball, and where the kid chooses to go, let them get support and equal support for that matter. Yeah.
And what about domestically? I mean, I think go local.
Yeah.
Mombasa, you could have a farm in Mombasa, support the sport. Out there in Kisumu, the same could happen. Nakuru, the same could happen. How are you trying to reach out to the local corporates?
We have reached to a number of them who support local tournaments, like we have Mombasa Open, which is coming up in October. You will find a number of local sponsors like Mombasa Cement coming on board, hotels, providing free venues, and subsidizing the rate for chess players to ensure, and that's the support I'm talking about. However, sports is a devolved function, and I must say most of the counties are not aligned in terms of how they are supposed to support the sports. Personally, I have gone and engaged some of them, and you could clearly see there is a missing link. They are not prepared to work with federation. They are not prepared to support sports, and they do it in a very small scale. And for me, I feel the county has even a picker responsibility to ensure that they nurture the talents locally. But as we speak now, we still have a long way to go for counties to come on board. Yeah.
All right, now, I'm going to let Winnie and Nathaniel have the final word. Winnie, go fast as we wind down this interview. The final word to those who want to get into chess, and what your outlook for the rest of the year.
For those who want to go in chess, yeah, you should start by playing chess magic, and then after that, after you know all the how you know the pieces, how to move, then you start going to technology, then you play on the mat, and then you play tournaments, and then you start winning games. Yeah.
You'll have the final word.
When you're starting, you should play on a platform online, maybe Chesskey, Chessmatic. Chessmatic is an online platform for learning, for beginners who want to start learning chess. They're really motivated. So you just need to keep on playing, you learn, you complete all the levels, then you start playing on the mat, you get taught. And then you start to play tournaments, you win, you win all the games, you get a trophy. And then you continue, you'll start liking chess even more. And as you grow, you'll keep on getting more passionate.
Thank you very much. Young man, Nathaniel, African champion, still proud about that, yeah? It sunk in. Has it sunk in yet?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
It has. So that means local opponents are ones. They're playing against the champion, right? Winning?
Yes.
Yes. Now, more trophies? Yes. We shall know, and we are expecting more trophies because you already have this from last year for the under-8, and you won yours, so we'll be expecting more trophies. Thank you very much. Bwana Wanjala, young man and young lady, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Well, and we'll be talking about an event that happened in Nairobi last week, the Africa Football Business Summit, and what were the outcomes, what were the learning lessons and the conversations from across the continent. And Brian Wesala is going to be joining us on set, and also we've got Mukhtar Koroma, he's from Sierra Leone. What stories can we learn from other countries outside of Africa? That's coming up in a short while. But in between, let's move over to Mombasa, where the National Assembly Speaker, the Right Honorable Moses Wetangula, is officially opening a 3-day retreat between House leadership and Kenyan editors. Let's listen in as we take this break.
our clerk, Mr. Njoroge, our Director General, Mr. Nyandiere, KJ, the infatigable chairman of the ICT and the other allied issues committee, Honorable, what's his name? Ado, my friend. I used to meet him in my law firm. He's a friend of one of my partners. Friends from the media. I was invited here by several interests. Last week, 3 people who call themselves elders from the media walked to my office. One was Emmanuel Juma, another was Eric Shimoli, and a lady called Rosalia. They asked me to come here, and I told them I had already been invited by my clerk. They said, no, we have come to emphasize that you must be there. Earlier on, Duncan Khaemba and another girl called Mutuku, and my friend, is it called Ocheng? Obuya. Came to my office and talked to me about the space around Parliament for media. And we had a very good discussion. And these are all young people that I've known for a long time. We've worked together. We used to work with Akina Roslyn Obala here. Namanane here from my village. Used to be sometimes write very nasty things about me, all based on fake news, and so on and so forth. Today we're here to talk about media, and media within the context of our parliamentary space. In 1787, Edmund Burke elevated the media to the fourth arm of government by saying we have the greatest of them all, the fourth estate. The first estate was the executive, the second estate was the judiciary, third estate was the legislature, and he said the greatest of them all is not the three, it's the fourth estate. 1787. So from there on, the media acquired space that nobody has ever been able to take away from them. They write many things, they build many careers, they destroy many careers, and they do many, many things. But they are unnecessary that society cannot do away with. And like AJ says, and Njoroge said earlier, the space has been changing so rapidly that if, as practitioners in this space, you don't change, you'll find yourself obsolete. When I first came to Parliament, like Muridi, is it Muridi? Muridi said, above the Speaker's seat was the press gallery, where people like Eman Omar and others would squat the whole afternoon waiting to pick a story. And they were also very divided in their loyalties to the House. Some member could make very, very good contributions in the House. He will never find his name in the media. James Orengo would stand on a point of order and it will be the headline tomorrow. And so on and so forth. So you are human beings, so we don't slight you for that. You also have people you like, people you don't, things you like, things you don't. But as a House of Parliament, we only encourage you to bear your fidelity to fact and law. Nothing else. Never mind that you have disagreed with KJ over something unrelated to Parliament. When he says something and does something good in Parliament, give him his space and give him his publication. Because, you know, Winston Churchill said the politician loves two things: face on the screen, name in the media. That is what the politician loves most. And those who don't find their way there feel disadvantaged in many ways. In those old days, and I keep getting calls from people in the countryside, and this, as media practitioners, you should think about. You know, we are now overrun by modernity, modern gadgets, and many, many things. But the bulk of Kenyans are still out there in Turkana, in Mandera, in Garissa, in Bungoma, in Siaya, in Kiambu, everywhere. Many people think that Kiambu, because of its proximity to Nairobi, is a developed county. It isn't. There are some pockets of poverty in Kiambu that are frightening. Just like you find in Kibra, in Mathare, and so on. Those people don't have phones. Those people can't access news in the digital way, the way we know it. So they keep on asking me, what happened to that program called Leo Katika Bunge? When after a family has had its dinner, they would sit there and listen to what went on in Parliament. And those days, even a member who just stood on a point of order to create a nuisance in the House was covered. Leo Katika Bunge, we used to take, I think, after 9 o'clock news on then KBC, as it then was. Of course, now there are so many media houses. But wananchi still have fidelity to a media house that gives them what they want. So as media, you should think of that to see whether you should keep on giving to the public who have no smartphones, who cannot go on YouTube and see what KJ said, who cannot listen to recorded and stored news. They want news in real time as is broadcasted from a particular media house. Parliament, now we have our own capacity to engage in this, and you can partner with one of the media houses to give that to the public. I was in Tana River on Saturday, and one Muse asked me, siku hizi hatusikii leo katika bunge? This was a 70-year-old man. And I told him, I'll tell those who manage Parliament to see whether it can be done. The media worldwide is loved and hated in equal measure, as you know. Media practitioners, particularly those on the front line, do an incredibly good job.
That is the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Right Honorable Dr. Moses Wetangula, who is opening a 3-day retreat between the leadership of the House and Kenyan editors in Mombasa. So our team in Mombasa will be giving us a wrap of that. Just part of the stories that we're keeping up on. Right now, let's have a conversation about football. And it's not about God AFC, it's not about Arsenal, Manchester United, but it's about the business of football. Because last week, there was the Africa Football Business Summit. It was organized by the Football Foundation for Africa, and they brought together some of the lead people who were there. Just to give you some of the people who were there, we had FUFA President Moses Hashim Magogo. He was here, and we also had Lini Ngwenya, who's in sports business. There is the Global Alliance for Safe Space. Is football really a place where you can do business? Can you enjoy that? Sir Suleiman from FIFA was also here, one of the people who was speaking, and also matters to do with law. And we are with Brian Wesala, who is the CEO and founder of the Football Foundation for Africa, behind that event. Brian,
Thank you very much, Daniel, for having us here today.
Yes. And we've got Mukhtar Komora. He's from Sierra Leone. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Excited to be in Kenya and also having the opportunity to be in the KBC Stadium.
All right. Yes. And so let me just, first of all, your experience in Kenya so far and at the summits.
Well, it has been fantastic since I came in on Monday, and then the summit started on Tuesday. It has been one event that has been a high opening for me, especially as a young one in football business and also in sports back home in Sierra Leone. I've been able to listen to various speakers who speaks on area on data analysis, area of business in sports, area of law in sport, for example, area of marketing. It was an eye-opening at the event. Various speakers, personality we have got all across the world. One thing that actually fascinates me, it has to do with over 20 countries made presence in the event, which for me was a very good one in terms of networking, build new friends, connect with new people, and learn the business about football, and learn how football should be governed in our continent.
And I would like, for you, because you're from Sierra Leone and you're having a renaissance. Well, 4 or 5 years ago, football in Sierra Leone was almost forgotten. We only hear about the national team. But what has been that process of reviving the domestic league and trying to grow it such that now you've got clubs that are competing in the CAF Interclub competitions? There's board, there's also, we have got Cologne FC. What's been that?
Yeah, you made mention of the issue that has to do Renaissance movement in football. Actually, under the reign of the past FA president, Aisha Johansson, which was a female, she was not having that close tie with the guys who run the game. We may want for this guy as the stakeholders, as we call them back home in Sierra Leone. There was this disparity.
That's what we call them here also.
Okay, so it's the same. So there was these disparities between Madam Aisha Johansson and then the stakeholder also. They have issue that has to do with Aisha looking at them as these people of low-class mentality. Aisha was this up there lady with the high class who wanted everything to be done in her own way. And also this issue was there in terms of managing the game. So the membership, who are the majority, they back off from playing the league. So this has been going the last 4 or 5 years. It happens that we held our election. Aisha was forced not to be contested by the government. After Infantino and Musepe visited, the president made it categorically clear that Aisha is a security threat to the nation. So they transformed the message to Aisha that I think you are not needed to contest, and then she backed off. So they went to the election.
Okay, that normally doesn't happen in Africa. If both and Infantino show up at a place together, then it's basically deal done.
But for the membership, there was this contention on how to get to FIFA to put forward their dissatisfaction. It was very difficult. So the only opportunity they had at that time was when Infantino and Musepe visited Sierra Leone. So the president understand the issue because his minister had been briefing him on a monthly basis on the challenges why the National League is not being played in the country. So when the president had a 3-man meeting with them, he said, this is the issue in our country, the game is not playing, and as far as I'm concerned, Aisha is the issue. So what I want you to do, I don't think the membership wants him. She is a security threat to the country. So they passed the message to him. She was frustrated because she was actually interested in contesting the election. But after the meeting with Infantino and the president of Sierra Leone, she actually held their advice and then back off from the FA president election in 2021. The election went, we had 2 candidates that contested. Sadiq Dinyako, who is the chairman for the Southern Region Football Association, and a guy called Thomas Daddy Bremer. Thomas Daddy Bremer won the election. Since he came, he has been able to bring the members together for them to able to see reason for the game to play across the country. So we have had consecutive 3 Premier League elections. The first one, which was held, was won by East Alliance. The last 2 has been won by Bo Rangers, who have been back-to-back champions and have been participating in the CAF Champions League competition.
Wow. It brings out one thing, and you had the senior governance services manager at FIFA, Sarah Suleiman. And what is the story that Suleiman is trying to bring forward as far as governance is concerned? Because we can talk about I mean, if I was to count the countries in Africa, Namibia, Comoros, DRC, the word used is normalization that has been there. If we keep counting them, we'll run out of fingers. But what's the message that she brought forward? Because we've had corporates who said, with that kind of behavior, we're not putting in a cent.
Sarah Solemale was the keynote speaker on the opening day of the summit, and this was because of some groundbreaking work that she has done when it comes to the governance of football in Africa. She has done this paper on improving governance by improving the relationship between our governments, FIFA, and the federations, member associations. So she's come up with it, if you can call it, a tripartite framework that needs to be used, so that government plays a more active role in the governance of football, but without interfering really with the running of the game. And as you've rightly pointed out, this has been a major challenge in African football. She's just talked about the situation that was there in Sierra Leone, and the government actually had to step in for things to continue. Because it is very important that government plays an active role if the business is going to grow. If you don't have a stable, a friendly atmosphere, then things will go haywire. And that's why corporates have been shying away from the game. But by what is being proposed by Sarah Solemale, FIFA Sarah Solemale, it's something that all African football stakeholders, and I wish, for example, we had more federation presidents attending, more people from government attending, so that we start to work towards this collaborative arrangement between government, FIFA as the international federation, and member associations. Even here in Kenya, we have just come back from, I think, 1 year ban, which really disrupt things. We're always finding ourselves regressing when these bans happen. So this was like a key discussion or a key theme that came out in this year's summit.
Now, you've mentioned what Solemale was talking about, the 3 ways how government comes in and the tripartite move. Just slightly elaborate more on that, because that lays the foundation for everything else that's going to come after that.
So, in football, in sports, we've had this concept of autonomy when it comes to the running of the game. And this was something that I think was devised in the 1930s there, when we realized that the nature of sports means certain usually disputes need to be resolved very fast, because you cannot afford to pose, for example, a league so that you can go into litigation or what they call it. And they made these arrangements where sport is able to run independent of government. Mm-hmm. But at that point, sports football was still a very amateur environment. But things have developed since, and it has become big business. And that's why we are saying we can no longer continue in that autonomy. And now we are talking about something called negotiated autonomy. Yes, football organizations should be running independent of the government or without the interference of the government. But at the same time, government have their role when it comes to regulation of the space. Mm-hmm. So that's what we are talking about when it outline this tripartite agreement. And we need, I think the word that was put out again was intervention instead of interference when government is involved in matters football. And FIFA, of course, being a major salient stakeholder, continues to play its role in terms of development, funding. And the other thing that came out clearly is that, yes, FIFA funds football development, but yes, the government is equally putting in a lot of resources, hence the need for them to play a more active role in the regulation of the space.
Now, moving on, Brian, maybe one I'd like to bring in also, Mukhtar, what you picked out. One of the other people who came in was Moses Hashim Magogo, the president of the Uganda Football FA. What is it that he did bring out, knowing very well that he serves in the CAF Executive Committee?
I think he made it very clear on the need for us to collaborate when it comes to the development of football. We can no longer afford to live in our silos or in our countries. And he was very categorical about the importance of events such as the Africa Football Business Summit. And he said he made sure that he would participate in this year's edition. And he spoke about how do we, as a region now, because East Africa is regarded as the weakest region when it comes to football, but the talent is here. Talent is spread everywhere. So what is it that is hindering the development of football in East Africa? And he outlined the same things: business. How do we re-engage the corporate? They could be getting it right in Uganda, and you see, over the last 15 years, they have come to be on top of Kenya, same as Tanzania. But he still outlined
Tanzania at the moment are the ones who are speaking. They are going to the AFCON. Uganda are crying.
Exactly. So, but he still spoke of the need for us to collaborate, to address important issues as a region, so that we are able to grow the East Africa region football.
Mukhtar, from listening to Moses Magogo, what did you pick out that you saw would be a comparative with what we witness in West Africa?
Basically, what I pick out is a man with a wealth of experience. He's not only into the side of football, it's also into the governance side also in his country. He's member of parliament. He spoke plentifully when it comes to collaboration in terms of the football, and also how government will be able to intervene in making sure that football has this environment in terms of developing and creating this ambience for football to strive across the continent. He was able to highlight figures that has to do with the growth of the game. You can able to count the growth of the game financially in Western country, but when it comes to Africa, you can't have specific figures that the game is generating yearly, which is bad for him. He consider the cooperation and also laws across the continent to be developed for the game to be grow, and to allow and encourage corporate houses to invest more into football. You talk about the ability footballers to create opportunity and also create employment for players across Africa, not only for themselves, because if one player happens to develop, let me say, for example, you have Victor Wanyama. When he played at a higher level for Tottenham, for example, it's not only for Victor Wanyama, but many people behind him will be able to benefit from the goodwill of Victor Wanyama. So there are a lot of goodies. For me, the summit was an eye-opener, as I stated earlier, which give opportunity to not only the East African country, but the rest of the continent to be able to understand that football is a business, and as a continent we should run it as a business, so that we should be able to benefit from this huge market that has been lacking behind for so long.
Now, let me come. You mentioned about data and information. I won't even talk about financial numbers for now, because it can be a little bit crazy. But how much data is available from the people who are out there as far as African football is concerned? Somebody would, if I go speak to a player, say at Gor Mahia, and I ask him, do you know the number of passes you made in the game you played yesterday against City Stars? Do you know, for example, if you made an assist? If you're a defender, how many tackles? How does that feel to you?
I mean, it's not an area we have invested in terms of data collection and presenting of the same. But I think we are starting now, and it was interesting at the summit because we had I think up to 3 presentations around data. We had David Utambuka, who came in from ISD Business School in France. He gave a presentation on data and AI in football. We had Mohamed El Badri from Egypt, Cora Stats, also making a case for data. So I think it's just a matter of time before these clubs now start to embrace data and technology broadly for the transformation of the game. As you rightly point out, without the data, it's very difficult for us to develop, because where are we going if you don't know where you are standing at the moment? It's something that really puzzles me about Africa. When globally we can talk about the worth of the industry, and we can put out figures, but Google What's the value of the African football market? No information. Yeah. So this is these are things that we now need to start doing, and the summit really brought out these conversations.
What did El Badri say mainly, given his experiences in Egypt? Because I know clubs like I think Ahli, Zamalek, you would think of Ismailia and now Pyramids. They do really, really value all these little numbers around the sport.
Yeah, from Egypt, the messages was that they have really invested in their leagues and in their clubs in terms of putting the infrastructure in place, both hard and soft, and in this case, data. And that's why they are able to even keep their players in Egypt for longer. And that's something that also we need to address. I say the Egyptians don't have that urge or to move to Europe. Most of them are being compensated fairly well in the local leagues, and therefore very few venture out. And you can imagine if we had the same in most countries in Africa, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, where players are just proud to play in their own countries. Even our own value, for example, in the transfer market, will go up if we are playing here for longer and then moving at a good age. Our value in the transfer market will definitely go up.
Yeah, quick one. Let me chip. Quick one you left out. It has to do with the media. El Badri spoke about the media making sure that this player felt like we are needed in this country. Give them the market. Give them the presence they need. When they wake up, just like when I open my TV or radio station back home in Sierra Leone, you see most of the sports program, what they talk about is Arsenal, Man United. You make the local of your country. They have the urge
Are you serious? Are you serious? You don't listen to Kenyan radio in Freetown?
No, we don't catch Kenyan radio in Freetown.
Because that sounds like Kenyan radio.
No, it's. I think it's not only Sierra Leone. It's an African problem. It's an African problem. So for me, again, the guy from Egypt made a brilliant contribution that I pick out from his statement. He said what Africa needs to do, especially for the media, is to make sure that the players who played in our local league felt like they are needed in the country. Give them the markets they need, give them the presence they need. Allow corporate companies to know that we need to brand this player, for example, because he is the top player in the country. Allow fans to run after them. For us in Africa, we give more attention to the European players. So when I wake up in the morning, I open my Twitter link in. I want to check what Messi did in the morning, what Ronaldo did. I leave my local-based player. I don't even care what they do because the media is not flowing us with the information on their activities. So that's, again, it's another key point for us to make sure that our leagues become relevant. The corporates will only come to support our local leagues if we promote the local league as a media entities.
And, it's very interesting. I think 10 years back, we could put a rough value to Kenyan football. And the money around it was about 1.2 billion shillings. Right now, I don't know how much we put in. And that was a top league 10 years ago. The upheavals have been there and they've changed everything. And now that you've mentioned media, as a sports journalist, in Sierra Leone, what is it that you've picked up, about as you're having now the revival of the local league? What has been a vibe mainly about Cologne and Bo Rangers?
But I just think that what needs to be done when I go back, especially doing my own radio program and engage in some of this owner of this club, is for them to understand that as a club, they need to allow the media to have access to information. Because the only way the media will talk about you is when the information is available to them. For the English Premier League, I'll open my computer, I click, I ask any question, I'll get the information for the internet. Whilst for our local league, it's very difficult. Those who run the league, they find this thing very difficult to communicate to the media guys, to have this information, to present to the listeners about the club activities or players' performance. This information difficult to have back home in China. I don't know for you guys in Kenya if it is different. So what I pick from the whole event is that local clubs in Africa need to allow information flow. Open your doors. It's not something you have to be only by yourself. Allow the information to be accessed. When it's accessed, you give the fans the urge to know that things are happening within this club and they are making progress, and I need to follow my club locally.
Well, I can tell you that there are two clubs where you can get information easily, Gore and AFC, but this is through basically because the fund have got it. Brian, let me talk about infrastructure, because this Kenya, Sierra Leone, we've been in the same boat. What was brought out about infrastructure in football? I know at one point Gianni Infantino said he wanted to raise $1 billion, such that there is a stadium in every African country built. But besides that, what are they saying about it?
Infrastructure, surprisingly, infrastructure was not one of the topics that we had set out to discuss at the summit. But in almost all the panel discussions and in the presentation, people are saying we need to work on our infrastructure. We need to work on our infrastructure, because to develop sports, to develop something attractive, you know, we need the right infrastructure. I remember Rogers Byamukama from Uganda as well, EXCO member in charge of commercialization of Ugandan football. He said even the color of the pitch is important when you want to put that product on TV. And so we should invest in having...
People want green, not brown.
Not brown, exactly. Just the way... you can imagine, he gave an example of just from watching a Premier League match, and then you switch channels to a match in the Uganda Premier League, and immediately it just becomes an eyesore. It's not something you want to watch, and therefore nobody will invest in that, both from fans or the corporate sector. So it's really important that we come up with the right infrastructure. But at the same time, it needs to be sustainable. You know, the idea of building huge stadiums, sometimes I find it challenging. We should build, like you say, 6,000 seater, 10,000 seaters for clubs, very accessible spaces for clubs, because it's all about sustainability. You don't want to end up with another Kasarani or another Nyayo Stadium, which is rarely being used. It ends up being run down. It becomes unattractive even to fans to attend matches, because all this needs to be taken into consideration when we are building our infrastructure. When it comes to the 1 billion, we also had the idea of setting up a fund here. Initially we said it's going to be Football Infrastructure Fund for Africa, which is also, the acronym there is FIFA. But now we are going to say Sports Infrastructure Fund for Africa, CIFA.
CIFA.
Yeah, let's raise funds also now. Let's mobilize internally before we start depending again on this fund that Infantino was looking to do, which I don't know where we've gotten with that. It's gone quiet. But I think internally we can be able to work, mobilize the resources, and build infrastructure that's fit for Africa, fit for purpose.
And Mukta, just give us the Sierra Leone situation, because in most of Africa, the stadiums are owned by the government.
The government.
Unless you have a curious case of Sudan, where Al Hilal and Al Merrikh own their own stadia, or South Africa. But what's this thing that happened in Sierra Leone, where a 6,000-seater stadium was set up by a private entity?
Well, for Sierra Leone, for far too long now, for over 50 years, football has been playing in the country. For the very first time, this year, a private individual by the name of Babadi Kamara was able to have the mind. Last year, he contracted a Turkish company that came down to the second city of Sierra Leone, which is Po City, and constructed a 60,000 capacity stadium. 6,000 capacity stadium that meets each and every requirement of FIFA and CAF. FIFA sent representative there, CAF sent representative there to go and do assessment for the approval of the stadium. It's a 6,000 stadium owned by a private individual, Babadi Kamara, which has made a huge lot of noise across the country. They have praised him because for far too long, the country has been suffering when it comes to the use of national stadium. The only stadium that has been on use for Premier League matches was the stadium built by the government. Then with this regional council stadium that are not even up to standard when you consider. Then this comes the FIFA artificial turf. They normally donate to their members' association. So this regional field, you will see fans will be standing around watching matches. No stand for them to sit, but they have artificial turf. But last year, the new FA president announced a project from FIFA that they will be constructing a 5 stadium across the country. This project, after the rainy season, in September, when the rainy season ends in September in Sierra Leone, they will start construction of a of a 5 stadium across the country. For me, what that will do, it will improve the quality of matches. It will improve the attendance of fans in the stadium. It will also help the quality performance of the players. Because for the players, for far too long, they have been playing in dusty field. Up to now, in our league, the major league is being played in a dusty field, which I'm sure is affecting even scouts going down to Sierra Leone to watch our players, or even to buy our players. Because they said again, for you to make a huge transfer in Europe, these things are all being considered. Where you are playing your matches, quality of your pitches, the performance, the rating of your leagues, this all. But I know with all this infrastructure being put in place, it will help our league, it will help improve the attention of fans going to stadium across Ireland to watch our matches.
Now, let's talk about, the real bit. By the way, Mukhtar, what's been the reaction of the people of Sierra Leone when they see this new stadium in the second city? 6,000?
It makes a huge noise. It makes a huge noise across the country. It gave Baba, the man who constructed the stadium, a huge popularity because everyone was congratulating him for such a huge task. Because there have been many people who are around with cash, not having that bold mind to invest in football. For him, he is a new kid in the block. He has this mind to invest in football. He's not only investing in building stadium. He has a plan also, for my understanding, to go into football academy, which is a huge one for a start. For me, I just think that for Babadi for now, when it comes to the game in Sierra Leone, he has also made sure that he transformed one of the team, a regional team that was hardly you heard about them when it comes to football. But due to his investment in them, they have won back-to-back Sierra Leone Premier League. They have represented Sierra Leone back-to-back in the CAF Champions League competition and also took part in the West African Club competition, which they went to the final, but they were defeated by a team from Mali. So for me, Babadi Kamara has been able also to transform the game, lift the game, and give the game a new facelift across the country by the way how they view Sierra Leone in terms of infrastructure when it comes to football.
Wow. Well, when everyone talks about infrastructure, I know this conversation can go on. It keeps coming up all the time. Now, presenting a brand. In Swahili we say, chema chajiuza kibaya chajitemeza. Basically translated for Mukhtar is something good. Basically it advertises
itself.
It's known, and something that is bad has to do the extra work. How much are we seeing clubs doing to present themselves as the viable brand that can attract revenue brand?
I think in Africa, I'll speak from a Kenyan perspective. Our clubs have not done well in terms of packaging themselves for investment. I think it's an area they should really work to improve their structures internally. So from a governance perspective, how are they organized? Yeah? And then now look into other issues. For example, we've just talked about the issue of data. These clubs starting to collect their data and make sure that they can present these even to potential partners or sponsors. And as you say, how are they going to attract sponsors? It's only by investing in themselves. And it was good to have representation from clubs at the summit. We had Raymond Oruo, CEO Gor Mahia. We had Victor Bibo, CEO FC Leopards. We had Patrick Korir, CEO at Nairobi City Stars. So also coming to these platforms is a way for them to benchmark, to learn from their counterparts in other countries, both in Africa and Europe. We had TSG Hoffenheim heavily represented here, and I hope through some of our interactions, our clubs can benefit from the expertise that it is there. Because what, again, we were saying is that we need to change the interaction between Africa and the developed sports economies. Previously we were just exporting labor and consuming media. But now we want to consume knowledge and attract investment. So we need that switch. And that's why these clubs need to come out more to also be transparent enough to show us this is what they are doing behind their scenes, so that we can help them or connect them to people who can help them to structure themselves better, so that they can attract investment both locally and from abroad.
You know, Mukhtar said the consuming media is it's basically a very huge thing, and the question is, how much of a culture change should happen if they're to go this way, such that there is investment coming through and knowledge coming down our way?
Well, quicker, if I should chip in, Brian made mention about club branding themselves. It's not only a Kenyan thing, it's like it's African thing also. In Sierra Leone, we have club branding issue also. The way they manage themselves. You see Premier League club is being managed by an individual. Him, the chairman, maybe the coach, and then the rest of the players. It's difficult. It's difficult for them to attract corporate houses to invest in them. For me, again, it has to do with the situation. If you are meeting the CEO, let me say, for example, MTN here in Kenya, you are the chairman of the club, you appear so kindly. The CEO will be watching you on the CCTV. And I think this guy is not serious. Let me send him to one of the departments. This has been the issue. But this most time when you tell them, most of them feel like you're insulting them. But this has been the challenge. Even in Sierra Leone, corporate houses are not coming in. But for you to attract someone, you need to present yourself in a better manner. What idea do you bring? What figures? The lady who talks about marketing, she talks about figures. Most of our club have the number. But when they meet these corporate houses, they don't know how to present figures. Easter Lions. We have been around for the last 50 years playing football. We have over 500,000 fans supporting us. If you do business with us, Easter Lions, this is the benefit you'll be having in terms of making sure that you be one of our sponsors. Do you have the figures? Most of the club don't present figures. What they do is, Mr. Lions wants you guys to sponsor us. How will I put my money into something you don't give me actually?
I think that comes back to the issue of the culture we've had in the game. You know, we've always with football, it's always like, we are football, you should sponsor us. But no, we need to change that culture, and the only way to do this is through education.
Okay.
Yeah. Education.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Brian Wesala, he is the CEO and founder of Football Foundation for Africa. This conversation, it was just getting started, you know, when it came to the numbers. And a sports journalist from Sierra Leone, Mukhtar Koroma. Thank you very much. And,
it's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure. Thank you
very much.
I mean, your insights, and all of these things. I've still yet to believe that you don't listen to Kenyan radio. Everything sounds the same.
I'll try to listen to you guys on the Radio Garden.
All right. Thank you. I'll tell you how you can get that. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure being with you over the past 2 hours. My name is Daniel Wahome. Time for me to leave. Khalid Abdullah is coming up next with Kurunzi Mashinani, followed by the interview program. Tamrini. Have a good day.
Triple